Greetings. In the first lesson, we studied how to get victory over the mark of the beast. Now, in this lesson, number 2, we begin with the question, when does the 666 global worship system start? So we've got here 666 worship starts when, and that's what we're going to focus on here today. So Jesus does not tell us or give us a calendar date. We'd all love to have a calendar date. We could just mark it on our calendars and make the necessary preparations. But he doesn't give us a calendar date. What he does give us is events that will occur before the worship system begins. Now, Jesus uses John the Apostle, to give us 5 trumpet events as a countdown sequence to the beginning of the 666 worship system, which is also called the Great Tribulation. So if we could picture the shuttle or a rocket on a launch pad, and we'd listen in on TV, we would hear the announcer counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, and we get down to 2, 1, 0, liftoff, right? Jesus has given us a 5 trumpet sequence of events counting down to the beginning of the 666 worship system. So Jesus describes the Great Tribulation in this way in Matthew 24:21. For then, says Jesus, will be great tribulation, just means trouble, turmoil, such as has not been since the beginning of the world unto this time, no, nor ever shall be. So what did he just say? He said this is going to be the absolute worst, most horrible time in human history ever, bar none. So if you remember anything about Hitler and World War II, or I suggest you look it up, you Google it a little bit and get a flavor for, watch a movie or two about World War II and get a flavor for how horrible a time that was. Jesus said it gets worse. When the tribulation comes, it gets much, much worse than that. Matthew 24, he says there'll be great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of time or ever will be again. So we see that 4 trumpet events occur first, and then the 666 worship system of the Great Tribulation begins with the 5th trumpet. So let's just recap really quickly. The 4 trumpet events are described in Revelation 8:7 through 8:12. In 8:7, first angel sounded, first trumpet blast, and 1/3 of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. Well, that's very hard to understand. What does that mean? Just about nobody has a clue. So let's go on to the next verse, verse 8. Then the second angel sounded, the second trumpet sounds, and 1/3 of the sea became blood, 1/3 of the living creatures in the sea died, and 1/3 of the ships in the sea were destroyed. Now, to try and picture this ahead of time is like too difficult, because we have never seen an example of this kind of event. Now, you've seen 1/3 of the ships in the sea destroyed, probably in World War II or in different, naval battles or whatever. But at the same time as 1/3 of the ships in that sea are being destroyed, 1/3 of the living creatures under the water die. And not only that, but 1/3 of the sea turns to blood. This is not a regular event. This is an unbelievable event which we cannot really understand ahead of time, but when it happens, we will know where it is in the Bible, right there in Revelation 8 and 8:9. Okay, the 3rd angel in 8:10, Revelation 8:10. The 3rd angel sounded, and a great sough fell on 1/3 of the rivers and on the 1/3 of the springs of water. And 1/3 of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the water because it was made bitter. So what is that telling us? Well, again, it's not really clear, but when it happens, it'll be as clear as a bell. Because people will be drinking the water of rivers and fountains and streams, and it will make them sick and they will die, and we'll have a news event, global TV, where, hundreds of thousands of people are drinking the water of a certain river and they're dying from drinking the water. Verse 12, then the fourth angel sounded. Okay, now we're on to the fourth trumpet. A third of the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened, and a third of the day did not shine, likewise the night. Now again, this can give you a headache, but once it happens, and there's any geographical territory on the face of the earth that can no longer see the sun, the moon, and the stars, this trumpet number 4 will be as clear as a bell in hindsight. Like I say, it's difficult to tell all the details ahead of time, and I don't think Jesus wants us to know all the details ahead of time, but he does want us to know when it happens, that what it was. When we see some of these events, we can go right back to the book of Revelation chapter 8 and read it again and go, oh, now I understand. So this is hard to understand, but it will be clear once it happens. Now some portions of the earth, they just will not see the sun, the moon, and the stars. And that is very much like what we understand to be a nuclear winter. So these 4 trumpet events occur first, and then Satan and the beast person create the 666 global worship system. That's when it comes on the scene. God is planning to allow Satan to give his power to the beast person. Revelation 13:2. And the beast, which I saw was like a leopard and he had a mouth like a lion, the dragon, that's Satan in biblical language, gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. I don't think we humans can comprehend what it would be like for a human being, this world leader, to be given Satan's power. How much power does Satan have? We don't know. It's beyond our comprehension. He gives this person his throne. Wow! And he gives him great authority. So this person is like, the mightiest person on the planet on steroids sort of thing. This beast person, world leader, will have far more power than Hitler during World War II. Now, like I say, if you know anything about World War II, Hitler was a tyrant. Hitler had energy like you couldn't believe. Hitler could sway massive audiences and stir them up to a fever pitch, and then energize his troops with blitzkrieg, and they would race across the plains of Europe to destroy nations and capture them. So, after 4 trumpet events occur, the 5th trumpet introduces the 666 worship system with Satan and the beast person teamed up, working together to trick all the world into worshiping the 2 of them. Now, most people are going to go, wait a minute, you trying to say that 2 billion Jesus-following people who read their Bibles daily, sometimes some of them read their Bible from cover to cover, in 12 months they are Bible-reading people, and is this trying to say that they are going to be tricked into worshiping Satan and the beast person? Revelation 13:3. And all the world marveled and followed, i.e. worshipped, the beast, this beast person. Verse 14. So they worshipped the dragon, Satan, and who gave authority to the beast, gave him his power and his throne, and they worshipped the beast. So the result of, when the 666 worship starts, it will bring to pass the fact that people will be worshipping Satan, and they will be worshipping this powerful person that Satan has given his power to, the beast, and then they will be saying things like, who is like the beast? Who can make war with him? And what causes people to say that? Well, he's a mighty military leader with a powerful army that is greater than any other nation has on the face of the earth. So no one can make war with this guy because he has all this power from Satan. He's got all of this power and control over Europe and other places. So Jesus shows us that the 666 worship system of the tribulation starts after Satan is released from the bottomless pit at trumpet number 5. Now, a lot of people, they read trumpet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They know Jesus returns to the earth at trumpet number 7. They know that trumpets number 5, 6, and 7 are the 3 woes. That means that trumpets 1 through 4, they're just regular trumpets. But trumpets 5, 6, and 7 are woe number 1, woe number 2, and woe number 3. And the reason trumpet number 5 is woe number 1 is because Satan and all his power gets unleashed on tricking people and bringing about the worship system of the beast power. Revelation 9:1. Then the 5th angel sounded. We come to the 5th trumpet. And I saw a star was given him the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit. If you study your Bible, you're going to see the bottomless pit is a place given to give us a clue that Satan has limited power. God has restricted him to limited power. And in this case, it comes time at the beginning of the 5th trumpet to unleash him, to turn him loose, to give him his reign to go and do things that God has already predicted in the Bible. John sees locusts that can sting people like scorpions. I mean, stung by a scorpion. You do not want to be stung by a scorpion. Revelation 9:10. They had tails like scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. Their power was to hurt men for 5 months, which is really amazing, because apparently these people who are hurt by this sting seek death and can't find it. Now, I don't know how to explain that. That is almost inexplicable in human terms, but when it happens, it'll be obvious, and we can come back to the scriptures and say, this is what God told us would be happening in the future. Revelation 9:11, we see that Satan is the one who is guiding this horrific trumpet event, trumpet number 5, woe number 1, Revelation 9:11, and they had as a king over them, over the locusts, the angel or messenger of the bottomless pit, Satan the devil, whose name in the Hebrew is Abaddon, and in the Greek he has a name Apollyon. We're talking about Satan the devil. God has given other event sequences. We've just seen the trumpet event sequences. 4 trumpets come, then comes the 5th one. When the 5th one starts, then comes the 666 worship system, right? Which is difficult to explain in fine detail because we don't have all the details. So God has given other event sequences, as well as this one we've just seen, to show the prelude events before the 666 tribulation system commences. In the next lesson, we will study the coming of the 666 king, who is the 3rd king of the north. Now, people have heard about the king of the north, and they go, well, who is the king of the north? And where is the north? and what's his name? And what does he do? And so on. So we're going to see that there are 3 kings of the north in sequence. And this sequence gives us more information as to when the 666 worship system begins. So in this study, we have seen the first event sequence, the 4 trumpets, then the 5th trumpet, and then it begins, leading to the beginning of the 666 worship system and the mark of the beast. Now, Jesus has spent many verses in the Bible, in many places, warning his end-time servants about the mark of the beast so we could be ready to enter God's kingdom and to gain the victory over the beast.